Hoo boy, oh boy, hey, what's up, goofy goobers? Today we're once again talking about the absolute stinky diaper that is 11 Labs. And some of you may be asking yourself, why the hell are you not talking with your real voice? Well, the answer is simple. Joshua Shaw did something like this, so now that's the standard, I guess, LOL. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of this video. They finally did it. I'm making this video to talk about one thing. What's happening this year, man? This is the year of betrayal. First President's Discord server mentally snaps and deletes all his videos and is pretty much a cultist begging for the end days to come more than a baby cow begging to mooch on its mother's teat. Then we have Nintendo, the wholesome company we all love, being the shitty corporate entity, basically the Chinese regime of gaming they've quite frankly always been, and suing Palworld, a game that's actually trying to innovate and is more fun than the last 4 or 5 Pokemon generations combined. And now we have 11 Labs absolutely dropping their pants and sticking their ass in the entirety of their user base's faces while having a turtle head poking out. It's been rough. Today we're going to discuss the last thing I said there. And I don't mean the turtle head part necessarily, I mean the 11 Labs betrayal arc. The first stage of this disgusting evil betrayal happened like, what, 6 months ago? About half of the AI creators got banned from 11 Labs between then and now, and I say then and now because 11 Labs recently adjusted their detection algorithms to finish off the few survivors of the apocalypse of their own doing. I don't know what they did. Maybe they gave their detection algorithms super juice or something, but the fact is, the creators that managed to survive as long as they did are now squashed. 99% of people that still had their 11 Labs voices have lost them. And oh no, I don't mean just their political figure-oriented voices, I mean absolutely every voice, which I know for a fact will hit some creators with dozens of different voices particularly hard. So that's to say, 11 Labs decided to drop the ban hammer, and I mean they absolutely wiped their ass with the millions of dollars they've made by providing a high-quality voice-generating service for the general public. And now they'll most likely pander exclusively to corporations that need high-quality voice cloning. They basically pulled a classic one kid who scratches his nuts and then sniffs it to get high, did something bad, and now everyone needs to be punished for it. They might as well completely get rid of the voice cloning option entirely at this point. It's honestly depressing, but as someone wise might have said once before, don't worry, I've got you, bud. Any creator who's been affected by this and isn't ready to stop making content doesn't have a good excuse to stop making content, and let me tell you why. I have a couple of sites to recommend that currently may in fact be valid options. Of course, I'll post a comment if any of these sites turn to the dark side like 11 Labs did, but until then, I hope everyone can get something from this video. Now let me start by plugging the AI Force 1 Discord server. There are 14 and counting creators that make quality content there, and is probably one of the best places currently to interact with a number of us and the community as a whole. I also took the liberty of creating a Google Drive filled to the brim with a stockpile of different AI president content. It's not perfect by any means, but it's a great place to get started if you don't know where to start. I have a text document in it that has a ton of helpful bullshit and folders filled with various images and voice data, much of which are from my personal archive. If you want to make any content submissions to share with everyone, then DM me on Discord. I'm going to touch on a few sites and discuss pricing and boring stupid shit like that a little bit so you can try and gauge your options here. And let me actually say the site I've been using so far for voices, and that's Play. Play is what I've been using since 11 Labs first gave everyone the finger, and I can tell you, you can get some good quality content with these voices. My Tweaking President series is currently made exclusively with Play, so you can see how the voices can also break in various hilarious ways, but it can also serve for general purpose talking as you've seen here. Just regular ass talking. I must admit there is a slight learning curve to Play. Definitely more than 11 Labs, but some absolute silly billies out there like Game Producer 6 has said that he actually prefers Play to 11 Labs after getting used to it. Play works well once you understand it, and it can outperform 11 Labs sometimes. I've been using their regular 2.0 voice model so far this video. I've been trying to match Critical's standard voice as best I can without cherry-picking line generations too much, so I currently have the angry emotions selected with the gauge all the way down. Stability is at 0.4 and similarity is at 1.6. Each emotion affects sentences in different ways, even with the bar all the way down. That is a part of that aforementioned learning curve. In fact, as a general rule with Play, I highly recommend testing each voice at the lowest possible settings for similarity and stability and emotions, then increasing it from there. My voices are usually all the way down in the standard Play 2.0 model. I also recommend to have your voices at 1.1 times speed when they generate, and that's just because voices generated by Play are a little slow, so I say do that. You may want to go even higher and go to 1.2 in specific cases. Another potentially helpful feature of Play is that you can lay out the entirety of your script and generate it all in one go, and then export it all as one in order audio file. And now I'm swapping over to the model that GP has been using the most since he swapped over, and that's their 2.0 Gargamel model. It's more stable, and the best way I can put it is it's like an 11 Labs voice that is being spoken through an Xbox mic. It is lacking the emotions feature that the regular 2.0 has, so I usually don't use it. However, this model still has its place. Each model and each voice generator in general handles voices differently, so you may find some voices in play actually do significantly better in here than they did in 11 Labs.
Brah, I don't know about you, but this is a pretty good Squidward voice if we're comparing it to other Squidward voices you may have heard when they were generated with 11 Labs. I'm sure I could tweak the settings or file sample I provided, but this is pretty good. I think.
And now this is Play's 3.0 mini model. I don't know what the actual fuck happened to the regular 3.0 model, but when that eventually comes out, I expect great things. This mini model is in general worse than Gargamel in my personal testing, but it might be a valid option for some of you. Actually, now that I'm hearing it again, it's better than I remember. Well, fuck me, give it a shot, I guess. This shit was on default settings. There's also Play version 1.0, but to be honest, I haven't messed around with it at all. Some of you stinkers might have pretty simple issues to fix with Play. The first one is when we get this goofy spinning green circle of death. The solution is actually simple. If one line is having issues generating, then all you have to do is simply copy what you're trying to generate, press enter to create a new line with duplicate settings, then paste. Your line will most likely generate. There's also this very goofy, I don't want to say it's an error, but this wacky little box that pops up on screen from time to time. You can safely ignore that entirely. Press space or escape or whatever the fuck to close it, or just be a normie and click OK. The next error is one you can't do much about, and that's Play going down for 2 or 3 minutes at a time every once in a while. You know that's happening when the copy-paste fix doesn't work. I don't know why that happens, but I guess those servers get a little quirky at night. As for pricing, Play is amongst the cheapest in the market, significantly cheaper than 11 Labs. Hell, it's completely free if you spam make accounts, since each free account lets you have one active cloned voice at a time. But I'm not talking about that today. That shit would be kind of annoying, so I don't do it. I paid for their unlimited use yearly subscription for $348 a year. Now, some of you may have just thrown yourselves back in your seats, absolutely flabbergasted that I called $348 cheap. Well, listen to me, currently for voice generation standards at the end of 2024, that is extremely cheap. The unlimited plan isn't actually unlimited. It's just basically unlimited. In reality, it's 30 million characters that you can use over the course of a year. That is a fucking ton of characters, even for someone who makes a ton of videos and does a lot of line regenerations. For comparison, the quickest and technically cheapest way to get 33 million characters in 11 Labs is to get 3 months of their most expensive plan, which equates to $3,960 US. Holy fucking shit. That really makes it clear how overpriced 11 Labs is. You may go to Play's website and see that it's actually only a limited time deal. Well, I'll tell you right now, it's not. It's just a marketing strategy to make it look like it's been marked down. But the thing is, even if it wasn't marked down, it would still be a third of what 11 Labs costs for the same amount of characters. 11 Labs also gives you 11 million characters a month at their highest tier. Good fucking luck using all of those characters before they wipe the slate after a month. And now I'm going to move on to the next voice cloning service. But before we move on, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor. I'm just fucking kidding. How the hell would I, of all people, have a sponsor? All I can say is that if you decide to go with Play, all I ask is that you use my referral link so your boy gets a kickback from it. Don't be like GP and fuck me over. Next up, I have a pick that is extremely controversial, at least to me, because I've done an immense amount of shit talking on this sketchy-ass Chinese site. But you know what? Their newest voice cloning option is actually a significant upgrade. And that pick has to be VoxBox. And before you say anything, I'm not affiliated with them even a little bit. Vox just means voice, you absolute freaking goober. The reason I could never ever recommend this service to people in the past, despite its voice quality that is so good that it is just barely sniffing the stink off of the ass of 11 Labs, is because of how ridiculous their pricing and business models were. And actually, they still are that bad. However, oddly enough, but I suppose not odd for these fucking weirdos, the dog shit pricing models only apply to their former voice cloning service, which was exclusively available via a desktop application. It did shit like hide details like prices for buying characters or extra voice slots, which you could only see once you subscribed to one of their dog shit subscriptions. The subscriptions heavily incentivized you to stack more and more onto them, and as a whole it gave me awful vibes. That being said, their new voice cloning service, which is the exact fucking same from their other one, has an entirely different pricing model that is far easier to understand and use. These pricing models are exclusively available on their brand new website voice generator. These deals do not apply to the desktop application. Not only are they significantly easier to understand what the actual fuck you're trying to buy, but they are significantly less predatory and genuinely better deals. That being said, again, some of the stink leaks over from their prior pricing model. The voice clone samples you get are in a lower quality, so you aren't quite sure if the voice will be to your liking, and they only let you delete voices and try again like 2 times before you can't. Those retries reset every month, so you need to be very fucking careful with cloning and deleting voices in exchange for others. This site is as easy to use as 11 Labs. There isn't really a learning curve at all. Their character buying is better than 11 Labs. You may click on their Buy More Characters option and see, oh wow, 1 million characters for only $15? That's a steal. And let me tell you to slow down their bucko, because another aspect of stink that remains is the fact that the voices you clone cost 5 times more characters to generate. That's right, I said 5 times. That being said, this is still cheaper than 11 Labs. You can get what equates to 200,000 characters for 15 buckaroonies, while at 11 Labs, you get only 100,000 characters for 22 USD. That doesn't factor in other things, like how much it costs to buy extra characters on 11 Labs, but you know what I mean. No one uses 11 Labs or cares anymore. But let me play devil's advocate for a second in terms of their character deleting policy. If you're a serious content creator with a ton of voices, you're probably going to go with their $85 a month plan, which gives 300,000 characters a month and 100 voice clone attempts. So that might not be an issue depending on your subscription you go for. VoxBox also has a new voice generation model that has access to emotions similar to how Play does. The voices generated with the emotions are lower quality, but they have potential to be more dynamic or situationally useful like in Play. However, in this case, it requires you to expend another voice slot to do so. Play has no voice cloning limit or any gripes about deleting voices, so that's a dub for Play. Ah ha 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 ha. Play also has potentially the best laughing in AI generation right now. It's actual laughing. I am currently using the lowest costing model, and your boy's wanting to test out more characters and emotions, so I'm not going to expend another on moist critical LOL, sorry, but it be like that sometimes. I haven't done much testing with this site in general, so keep in mind I might be using suboptimal parameters for this voice.
This is my Barack Obama voice in VoxBox using the same source file as my one for Play.
Now this is my Barack Obama voice in VoxBox, using the same source file as my one for Play, but I'm using the angry emotion. Every single bar is set a 50%.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounded pretty fucking cheeks in terms of both quality and level of actual emotion. You're probably better off using the regular VoxBox model in any case. Save yourself a cloning slot. And I also want you to keep in mind, I also use the same source file for my voices I've used, which includes my critical voice. The specific voice sample I took for my critical voice is the entirety of his Valve Should Be Embarrassed Fix TF2 video. Isn't that fucking hilarious? I had you all bamboozled this entire time. By the way, the settings I am at currently is stability 0, similarity 50, and exaggeration 80. I'm gonna try to break this voice, let's see what happens. Holy fucking shit, I just discovered a gigantic L for this service. They will fucking censor you. Play doesn't do that. Massive dub for Play, huge L for VoxBox. All right, let me try and change a couple of letters. Give me a sec. Oh boy, cover your damn ears for this one.
Donald, you stupid fucking pig! Okay, fuck! I'll kiss you. Do you hear me? I will kiss you.
That was 0 stability, 20 similarity, 100 exaggeration.
And now keep in mind, Play voices in VoxBox or 11 Labs voices break in very different ways. But this is the same mess, but in Play. Oh, Donald, you stupid fucking pig. You, my stupid fucking pig. You. Oh, wow, okay, yeah. Oh, why, yes. I'll kiss you. Do you hear me, you? I will kiss you. That was at 0.4 stability, 1.1 similarity, and 6.9 emotional strength and anger. Nice. Very nice. I'm not going to bog down the video with more dumbass testing, but there are a couple of other options I know about currently. And my document in the Discord talks about a couple of them, like Jenny and Parrot. Parrot is the only one where I've seen it used widespread because it is super fucking cheap. However, the voices are pretty cheeks, generally speaking, so you get what you pay for. $50 for unlimited use. Also, it's usually best for most voice generating sites and software if you only generate 1 to 3 or 4 sentences at a time. When you type for longer than that, you may begin to lose quality.
Alright, going back to my super epic and god-pilled moist critical voice, I'm gonna have my dear friend Broadway CJ97 clone my exact critical voice, and I'll have him run a quick test. Like his comment he leaves on this video or you'll regret it. I promise! And this is the same exact voice, but cloned in Parrot, like I said. I think the quality is kinda cheeks, but if you're desperate and don't want to ever worry about having to pay for a service ever again, this might be your choice. If Parrot ever gets quality updates in the future, then this could be. And a heavy hitter, I've noticed some voices actually fare well in Parrot, but others completely fail and sound like they're fucking drowning. Oh, and Tweaking Tim is a fucking cutie. Thanks for the last comment, Broadway. I'm glad I asked you if you want to add anything to the Parrot segment. And to wrap things up, I want to say that VoxBox is definitely the easiest to use and has the quality to back it. It's been difficult for me to recommend Play simply because of its learning curve. VoxBox handles things like longer paragraphs better than Play and understands things like acronyms better than Play as well. Generally speaking, it's more consistent and stable. It also has features like manually adding pauses in characters' speech and also changing how words are pronounced, which are some nice quality of life features, but that can also be done in Play by spelling a word differently to achieve what you're trying to have the character say, or adding a hyphen for a delay in speech. The question is, will I swap to VoxBox? Well, probably not. Play is cheaper and less limiting in what you can do in regards to censorship or freely cloning as many voices as you want and deleting them whenever you want. I will, however, now consider VoxBox as an option for when I simply can't get a satisfactory voice in Play. I can give you an example of that. If you've watched my Pokemon Clover series, then you know there is a character named Kexandra. And Kexandra is apparently a fucking otherworldly being because I cannot for the life of me get her voice to work in Play even a little bit. It can get close if I use Gargamel, but not quite at the very specific point I need it to be. I can, however, achieve it in VoxBox. The reverse can also be true. I won't say what voice it was, but I had a voice that would not work at fucking all in VoxBox, but I managed to get it to work in Play. And all I'll say is it was a miracle I got it to work super well in the end. You really just have to do what's best for you financially and quality-wise. Play has 3 damn models you can choose from to try and get the best result. 4 if you include their version 1.0. VoxBox has 2 different models you can play with. Give both a genuine shot and play around with them. Use one, use both, use neither. It's up to you. And even then, Parrot is a thing, Jenny is a thing, and there are other options out there. I just made this video comparing what I view as the current top 2 options for 11 Labs alternatives, because if there is one thing every single person in this community can agree on is this, fuck 11 Labs. There is still hope for us yet. Well anyway, that's about it. See ya.